The plan for this morning is that we are going to hear from Ian Clegg. Ian, give us a wave. And also Sam Henderson, who is our friend in New Zealand. Sam is sitting there in New Zealand. She's already had today already. I don't know how her day has been, but ours is just beginning, Sam. Anyone, just stick your hand up if you've been to New Zealand. Am I the only other person that's been to New Zealand? Wow. Well, I can just tell you that when you do all go to New Zealand, Sam, I bet you feel lonely now, that there is a brewery in Dunedin called Speight's Brewery. And that is my name, as you can probably see. So I commend Speight's Brewery to you all to go do a little tour. When I went there, I was astonished that there was a brewery called Speight's, but there was, and I had a very nice time. I was backpacking around between school and university and had a lovely, lovely 4 weeks in New Zealand. So we're going to hear from Ian and Sam and work out why they are doing something from either corner of the world to do with photographs. And I'm going to let them tell you all about that. And then we're also going to hear from Monique talking about the latest iteration and development, and Claire about Playback. That is the theatrical improvisation project that's going on, that is now taking off in Cumbria. And also David Ross is going to tell us about the North Cumbria Scriptwriters competition, where we've got with that, and some really interesting work that's been going on as far as that's concerned. Also, a bit of news about, thank you, Richard. It's a bit of news about the Catalyst Commission, which we've been part of, along with the University of Cumbria, Art Gene, and
Cumbria
Lep, thank you. Because that's now been, thank you. We're getting down to the final 3 quite soon. And probably some other things that I can't remember, but that will come to me in due course. So that is the plan for this morning. Let's kick off then with a really interesting project that I invite you just to sit back and enjoy finding out about. I'm going to hand over the reins to Ian Clegg, and Sam Henderson. I'll let them introduce themselves. Ian's quite a regular on these calls, and we've got some beautiful slides to share with you as well. So Ian, let me hand over to you to introduce yourself and tell us about this project. And Ian's in Ulverston. You're just on mute there, Ian, so come off mute so that we can hear you.
Apologies, good start. And I think, Sam, you're on mute as well at the moment. So, yes, I'm in Ulverston. I am a photographer and image maker, as I call myself nowadays. Myself and Sam met in Blackpool College, wasn't it, Sam?
Blackpool on the far.
I was dabbling in education, and Sam was fully immersed. And we taught on the photography course at Blackpool, and then we parted ways. And Sam, do you want me to tell them what you did, Sam? Would that be helpful?
Okay, I'll correct you if you're wrong.
Sam took over at Stockport, and we worked on the BA together. She brought me in there to help out. And then, due to various family things, Sam moved to New Zealand, and we thought we'd keep in touch, and we thought we'd try and keep in touch visually, really, as we're both photographers. And we started just a blog, and we started firing images back and forth to each other, just to kind of respond to our different living areas. I lived in Bury at the time, a lovely place called Ramsbottom, you might know it. And Sam moved to an obscure little town called, was it Otago? Sam, over to you, where you actually live.
I live in Palmerston, which is in Otago, North Otago. So the bottom of the South Island.
So culturally speaking, Sam lived on this farm, I would call it, where the nearest neighbour was the other side of the river. So she got some fantastic images piping the way back towards us. And then you moved into town. So the images do change over time. But this, as a kind of playful, just kind of keep in touch type of thing, has turned into hundreds of images. The actual link is in the chat. We're going to have a very playful, informal sort of discussion about what's going on, what we're doing. Please interrupt, ask questions, and halfway through we're going to show some images for you to guess which hemisphere they're from, and enjoy. So 2 photographers, 2 hemispheres. Next, please. So this is kind of just a summary of what we're up to. It's kind of changed into something bigger than we started as a blog. It's become kind of a bit more academic sometimes. Sometimes it's just for fun. So the images are self-explanatory, really. There's not much text that goes with them. We sometimes respond within hours, sometimes it's within weeks, isn't it, Sam? So it can...
Yeah, sometimes we're quite quick. It depends on where we are and what's happening in life. And I found it very important because I moved out of my sort of my group, my photography group that I was really, you know, aware of in the UK, and I came back to New Zealand where I had been in photography down here, but I was so extreme, you know, it's got a lot of distance between us. So it's so exciting to have it, that we continue that communication and have an excuse to take your camera out. That was the best bit.
Next, please, Amy. The first 2 pictures. Remember them, Sam?
Yep, I sure do.
So my image was just a funny little canal bench that was kind of very modernist in this ancient canal area. But then Sam fired back this picture of 2 chairs with, I think it's the view from your farm, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I just did the exact opposite of what you do. You did the modern and the old, and I've done the, you know, the well, in the landscape, some modern chairs abandoned on the hill for the best view. So.
Yeah. So I think I mean I was intrigued on where you'd moved to, and you've got that's your view from through the eucalyptus trees. But did you not have a bath outside that you just put candles underneath to heat it or something?
A gas burner, an enamel bath with gas burners underneath it for outside.
Which is just
For a cold
brilliant.
winter's night.
Next, please. So this is our blog. As I say, the links in the chat. I can't see the chat now, so I presume, Tom, if you get any questions that do turn up in the chat, please.
Yeah, I'll look out for them. Don't worry.
Lovely.
Yeah.
This is the latest image that's up there. We do have a few followers. We haven't asked for any followers, but we seem to have acquired some, and the occasional comment. But we don't really care, do we, Sam? It's basically between
yeah, it's a visual exploration, and often I find that we almost respond to each other without actually knowing it, and it's not you know, I take a photo of a dog and you take a photo of a dog. It's a bit more variety than that, and it might be a connection is found a long way along the path, because of course we're in not only different hemispheres, we're in different times of the year. So, you know, you're having nice sunshiny pictures of flowers and strawberries, and I'm depths of winter. So some of our conversations they become quite long. Our visual conversations are quite long, and it's quite it really engages you when you start looking at more of them, and you start seeing, oh, you know, and it comes up again. And then of course there's also the political and social times too. There's sometimes a lag, and sometimes we're together, but we're not really discussing them verbally, it's all visually. So some of those signature sort of bits come through, which is quite exciting when you look back on it.
Next, please. Two of our favorite images, I think, Sam. So this is more of the literal response, where I found this abandoned toilet suite in Ulverston behind behind a house, and then Sam fires back this royal loo, which is quite political, really, isn't it, Sam?
Yes, it is. That image is taking place up a long way inland, and it's a man-made lake, and they're considering using it to make it as a large water storage to create hydroelectric, because we're trying to find ways to be cleaner and things. And then there's a lot of times that this is it's been used as a fishing spot, and it's very controversial because that will all get wiped out. And so this how I happened to be there for this weekend, and it's no sewage, there's nothing there. And this is a long drop, but it's open to the elements. And I happened to be wandering past and peered in. And of course, it's got a picture of the Queen in it for some unknown reason. So it was quite entertaining.
Is that what they call it? A long drop?
Yes.
How literal?
Oh, yes.
I think we should move on, Amy, please. So I think this is another one where we responded quite well to each other, where I was waiting for a train at Salford Crescent, and not one person apart from the chap halfway down actually was doing other than being on their phone. And then we dive quickly back to Otago, and this is your form of social media, is it not?
And that's me waiting for the mail.
Next, please. I was in Leeds, and as my son was renting this Victorian house, and at the back, the strange non-planning permission alterations they do to their houses, where they've just blocked off this entrance to the back of the house, which I've just found intriguing. Sam?
Yep. Well, this photo is taken in a place called Shag Point, which, as you can imagine, lots of people really like taking their photos in front of their signage. But it was actually a coal mine, but it was an undersea coal mine, and it got flooded out, and all that's left now are tracks, empty and going into the sea, and that's all that's left. So it's quite fascinating.
And this kind of made me go down to the Ulverston shoreline, where they've got the old the foundry stuff there, which I'll show later. Next, please, Amy.
Ian, Chris is saying, I love this idea of a photo chain, each prompting the next. Zoe says, brilliant. I'm imagining choreographed scenes and all of these images as they pop up on the screen. And Jilly's saying that she loves this as well. And Richard says, we have lang drops. There was one in Mary, Queen of Scots' house in Jedburgh.
Well, thanks for your input, guys. Keep it coming, and please interrupt us. We might falter. This is where I got lost in. There's a wonderful bookshop in Preston where there's a real grumpy owner, and he doesn't like you going in even. But once you get in, it's just a squeeze through all the books. It's amazing. The stuff you're finding there is incredible. So I popped that one up, and Sam came back with your Lilliput.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a trend. I don't know if they're in the UK much. Lilliput libraries. You just put a library outside your house. And my mum, she is unwell, and so she loves books. So I made her a Lilliput library, and it's part of a community libraries all around the country. And you take a book and leave a book, and she goes and fills it up every few days, and people take it out, and it's quite exciting for her. And it's, they're just fun.
Next, please. This one on the left, I don't know if people recognize it, but it's in Shude Hill in Manchester, opposite the wonderful new metro station. Is this worn out old building with a window that's got this intriguing sign on it that says these windows have registered right to light, which will be vigorously enforced. It's bizarre, and I've always wanted to use that window in some kind of situation. So here it is. And Sam.
Yes. Okay. Well, this photo was taken in Wellington, actually, and it was just a it was around Christmas time, and there was a group of young people obviously having their party or something, and for some reason they hung a big star in their goal, and they weren't anywhere, you know, they were all having their picnic somewhere else, but I just thought it was rather beautiful and quite appropriate for Christmas.
Next, please. I'm starting all these shots because the UK shots tend to be on the left and the NZs on the right. This was in Malig. I was waiting for the 1-a-day train there, and I wandered around the back, and there's this Reliant scimitar sitting under a tarpaulin. Sam?
Yep, this car was on the side of the road. I just thought it was so cute. It looked like it was winking at me. And that's all I responded to it by.
Yes. With its strange MBG reg plate.
Yes.
Next, please. Part of our Cumbrian arts scene here, where in Ulverston they decided to put woolly hats on top of all the ballards, which is quite cute.
Well, my photo was taken because I did a lot of charity work at a local recycling centre, and it came to Christmas and we have a lot of Christmas decorations. So I had to wash all the Christmas hats that people had gifted us. So I had to wash them all, and I hung them all on the line. I just thought that looked so cute. And, you know, you don't usually see your Santa's outfit out on the line.
Next, please. This is what got me to go down to Ulverston Beach after the other from Shag Point. We occasionally get these very odd things washed up on the shore, and this is what they call black glass, which is a bit scary. I don't know whether it did come from Sellafield or not, but I took a photograph of it, and it's not there now, thank goodness. So I'm not sure whether it's radioactive or not, but it's recorded.
That one I took is in the wetlands, and it's a salt marsh, which has got, you know, they're conserving the salt marsh because there's not much salt marsh left. And I just thought it was, you know, a really kind of beautiful thing to see. It's quite an intriguing thing to go and walk across.
I'm trying to think of the photographer who takes these sort of images for his. He's known for it. He's done the huge orange lakes in China and stuff.
Oh yes, I know exactly.
Yeah,
a triple barrel now.
Yep. Not in Cumbria. Next,
No.
please.
Ian and Sam, Gilly's saying this is a lovely dollop of inspiration on a rainy Friday morning.
Yes. Good. That's
and
excellent.
Then of course, sorry Sam, it hit us all, didn't it? This strange happening. Next, please. So this is our health centre in Ulverston, which they've got this multi-million-pound building, and outside they've got a COVID tent, which it was just surreal, wasn't it, everybody? It was just really surreal time. So it was very, very strangely photogenic. Sam?
Yeah. It was strangely photogenic, and I had a lot of time at home, so I could go and utilize it. I live in a really small town. There's 800 people in the town, and I went, you know, did what everybody does, went walking, and they had all these danger keep out signs around all the playgrounds, and so it was rather a strange thing to see. Yep.
And I've got friends in New Zealand, and in New Zealand, lockdown was very, very severe, wasn't it, Sam? You know, so that's almost emblematic of the sort of philosophy that was instilled over there. Is that right?
Yeah, it was very, very, very serious and very robustly enforced. Yeah.
Next, please. Thank you, Amy, for your work on this. This is one of the local pubs called the King's Head in Ulverston, and they just basically locked the pub up, and I just saw this bunch of flowers slowly deteriorating in the window.
Yeah.
And then Sam sent this other. I can't spell very well at all, but so I didn't spell it wrong there. If you look closely on the image that Sam put there.
Yeah, yeah. Lots of people having a good time with chalk.
Yes. Next, please. So we had this strange thing, didn't we, on Thursdays? It was clap for the NHS, and this is a local character called Ralph Spurs with his wonderful moustache, and we started to bang pots as well. So again, photographic opportunity, but very kind of odd from Sam's point of view, that what the British were getting up to on a Thursday evening.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I took that photo because it was at the time, again, because we were in quite a robust lockdown. I saw this, piece of equipment, medical equipment in the gutter, which, right at the start was quite, it was quite surprising and shocking because I live in a real country place. Of course, now we've got quite used to it, but at that time, that was, it was quite a big deal when you saw that right at the start. So, yeah.
Next, please. So this is where the audience guesses which hemisphere this one is. So you can pop it in the chat if you wish, or speak up.
Audience participation required.
It is, isn't it? How's it going, Tom? Is the people responding there?
Nothing in chat. So just come off mute, everybody, if you want to guess where this is. I'm guessing. I mean, those look like lovely British lawnmowers. So I'm going to say that's somewhere in your part of the world, Ian.
Right.
Ginny's saying UK. George is saying UK.
I think it's New Zealand.
I'm going New Zealand.
Yeah. The tree underneath is very bizarre.
Well, Chris has got it right.
Yes, it's under a macrocarpa hedge.
Yes.
Richard's got it right. I think you meant, yeah?
Excellent. Oh, what's it?
So
Chris, sorry.
Deanne's gone for New Zealand as well. So tell us the story behind this one.
This is my mother's next door neighbour is a gentleman who likes tinkering with furniture, and he carefully cuts his macrocarpa hedge so that it creates like a shelter. And under it, he has a lot of lawnmowers that he likes to fix, and he just parks them all up there, and they're not left there forever. They are moving around. But I just thought it was so lovely, just a little nest of lawnmowers wintering over.
Next one, please, Amy. Are we all right for time, Tom?
Yep, you got another 5 minutes, Ian.
Excellent. So where's this one, guys?
Chris says UK. I'm going to say UK. There's nothing like a nice old tractor. Zoe says everyone's saying UK, basically, Ian.
Gosh, you see, I would have gone New Zealand, but yes, it's UK. It's in Hawes, which is in Yorkshire, I believe.
Cool.
Next, please. Some of you may recognize this one.
By
Or
saying
not.
that, you've almost given it away, Ian, possibly.
I would think so.
Chris reckons
Yeah,
it's
but-
Morecambe.
But
think that's
whereabouts in
Barrow.
the UK then? Whereabouts?
Chris reckons it's Morecambe.
Morecambe?
I think Barrow.
Who said Barrow?
Ian.
It's Barrow.
Andrew says Barrow as well.
Oh.
I like the way the letters are slightly wonky.
Yeah, as the real ones are, yes. I think it's a wonderful. I think it's an art piece. It's Barrow's Banksy in my head.
Cool.
Next, please, Amy. So we've kind of decided that we're going to somehow disseminate it. If anyone can help us, what we should do with all these images. Next, please, Amy. So we're starting to build a book. You want to flick through the next couple, please, Amy? And again. Yes. So this, whoop, stop there. Stop there. So we've got nearly 400 photographs now that have built up over the years that we've been doing it. And we want to know what to do with what we've got. A book seems an obvious answer, but we're a bit stymied, aren't we, Sam? Whether we just
It has got a life. It's become a life of its own. It's creating its own narrative as it's going, and it seems like it's really important to continue that journey. I mean, you know, to take to the next phase, wherever that's going to be. And so that's why we're looking at a book. That's exciting.
Yeah. Next, please. So as I say, this is not the end. I think I've posted one already this week, Sam, by the way.
That's a lovely image. That's a lovely image. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
That's how you make your mailbox stand out.
Yes.
No, it's really nice.
Thank you.
So
yeah.
if you guys like what we've done, please follow us. Please ask some questions. If you want to ask us questions through the blog, please do. But we throw it out to the floor really now, Sam, don't we? You know, it's not super academic. It hasn't got any agenda. It's just nice fun, and it's just developed into its own kind of thing, really.
Rachel, tell us your thoughts there that you just put into chat. Come off mute and just tell us what you've put there. Come off mute there, Rachel.
Sorry, lots of buttons to push. The reason I was scrabbling around was I was trying to find, okay, so sorry, Ian and Sam, that was brilliant. Thank you very much. I think this lends itself really well to social media, but I don't know what you're wanting to get out of it. So are you wanting just to share it with people, or are you wanting to turn it into an income generating project? Because obviously a book would be income generating, whereas social media wouldn't necessarily be in the first place, but it would be a really good way for you to get a bigger audience initially. So it might be that I don't know how either of you feel about social media, but Instagram, for example, is the perfect platform for sharing photos. I've got lots of platforms I follow on Instagram, and I literally just I spend my weekends, not all my weekends. I go out and swim and run up mountains and stuff like that. But my downtime is just scrolling through Instagram, a few of the photography accounts that I follow. And then I end up sharing there. If I find a photo I particularly like, I end up sharing it on my own platform. And then that obviously increases the audience massively, not because I've got a huge following, but that's the whole idea of social media, is that, you know, if I saw the photograph of the lawnmowers with the story around the lawnmowers and the hedge, I might have a particular passion for lawnmowers, and share that on my platforms, and that might then be shared by some of my friends. So you would instantly increase your audience. So it's a bit more of a slow burn. It takes a bit of time just to set that up. I mean, it's quite quick and easy to set up, but then to get the photos onto Instagram, and there are things you can do to lock your photos so that people can't steal them. And you can put watermarks on them, but there are ways that you can have them so that they're protected, so people can't download and claim them for their own or use them without your permission.
Ian and Sam, what do you think? What do you think to that as an idea? Are you Instagrammers?
I'm an Instagrammer. I don't think you are, Sam.
No, I'm not.
Well, I mean, it's very generous of you. Thanks, Rachel. I don't think I've ever made any money out of a book, but
we never know. This is it, and that's what the joy of the social media. It's free. Obviously, it's your time to set up and do. But if you want to increase your network, you might end up with somebody that wants to buy and stock your book as a result of seeing what you're doing on social media. So
I'm thinking, sorry to cut across you, Rachel. I'm thinking this is the Guardian weekend magazine spread, isn't it? Clearly.
I think you're right. It would lend itself really well to that.
I'm
And
just
Zoe-
seeing that someone said there's a good interactive with other artists, and again, social media would lend itself to giving you the platform to do that on as well.
Zoe's saying, I think there's loads of scope for interactive projects with other artists too. Yeah, as you say, perhaps to promote the book, selecting five images, for example, that can be used as stimuli for stories, poet, playwright, dancer, painter, sculptor, etc.
That sounds a good idea. Yes, using multidiscipline with it. Yes.
Yeah. Or like animators as well. So like some of the images just lend themselves to the imagination of, well, all of them do. I mean, as I think it was Jilly that said that it's this dollop of inspiration for a Friday. And honestly, just the stories and the visual continuity, I guess, of the possibility of each of these spaces that was inspired by just looking at them was amazing. So I think some kind of interactive, exhibition or space that would allow people to interact with those photos, perhaps either professional artists or communities. I think there's a lot of scope there for interactivity, definitely, just from the inspiration that you've shared this morning.
Jilly.
Yes, I think one thing that I wanted to say was it just felt so simple and effective, but I also feel that, in fact, being in the room with you guys talking about it, a lot of what was great about it was the interaction between you and the little sort of explanations you did, and I'm not quite sure how you would get that into the book. So I mean, I don't know whether any sort of audio visual presentation might work as well.
Yeah,
just because just sort of like your take on the pictures were what was just great, and your obviously enthusiasm. It was really nice.
Yeah, I
Thank
agree
you.
with all of that. All right, I'm watching the clock, Ian and Sam. So anyone's got any other further ideas or comments about this project, pop them into chat, and no doubt, Ian, you'll pop your contacts into chat as well, and Sam too. I think it's a lovely, when Ian first came to me probably a couple of months ago now with this as an idea, and it's just a really different, interesting, creative dollop, as Jilly's perfectly called it, for a Friday morning. Thank you so much. I just hope you continue getting pleasure and creative energy from it yourselves by doing it as well. I suspect you will. Let's see where it goes. It's been great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us this morning. Long may it continue.
Thanks for the feedback, people.
And everyone should get to South Island at some stage in their lives, I reckon, if you possibly can. It's
definitely.
not a bad part of the world. All right, I'm sure the comments will continue to come in, and Sam, so keep your eyes on chat. Right, before we hear about what Monique has been up to, and also David talking about scriptwriters, Kate, do you want to just fill us in on a couple of bits of parish notices for the network?
Yes, first of all, that was really fascinating. Thank you very much. An update on the Catalyst Creative Residencies. If anybody's catching up on that, these are 3 residencies that we've been able to create for artists and creatives in Cumbria. They are each with a fee of £25,000 thanks to funding support from Cumbria Local Enterprise Partnership. Quite a big deal, and the response has been absolutely massive. Massive and fascinating and heartening and exciting. And also, the process of shortlisting has been kind of heartbreaking in many ways, because the quality of what's out there, it's just been really quite overwhelming. So we are getting there with the process of shortlisting, and early next week we will be interviewing for the final 3 artists. So the tension is building. It's very, very exciting. And we will make an announcement, all being well, the week commencing the 15th of April. So please just keep watching this space, and we'll bring the news here. Aside from that, what else have we got to say? Don't forget, on the 17th of April, we have training in Essentials of Fundraising, online training, quite a short, sharp session, a refresher, introduction. I'd really, really recommend that for anybody who is fundraising, but it's not their speciality. You know, it's not what you set out to do as a career, but you need to do it. No doubt Amy will put the link in chat for people to book onto that if you want to do that. And don't forget, the next opportunity for everybody to get together in person is the 1st of May at RegEd, and the link will come into chat soon for that as well, I'm sure. If you want to book onto that, the focus of that day is also income generation. How can we be smarter, think differently about the ways to fund the work that we do? And Bernard Ross, who is director of the National Arts Fundraising School, is our keynote speaker. So if you haven't already booked onto that, please do. We would really like to see you. Of course, the really best thing about those days is that we actually get to have conversations in person, which is always lovely. Any other, if you want to find out more about everything else that's going on, please do go to the website. There's lots of meetups, more training planned, so keep your eyes peeled for everything.
Okay. Thanks, Kate. I'm enjoying the chat about long drops in chat. Right. There's also, everyone here has just asked us to mention something. These are the people that is the Big Arts Council project, 10-year project on the West Coast. They are setting up their Jury for Joys next month, and they are asking people if they would like to be facilitators. There's paid opportunities to be facilitators. 5 days work in total. New Citizens Jury for West Cumbria about culture and creativity. 5 days work in total. And a link, I think, for that is there. It's just gone into chat from Amy. If you're interested in that, have a look at that. They asked us to mention it because I think the closing date is possibly next week. So have a look at that. Right, let's move on. We've got 15 minutes to go. So we're going to cross now, I think, to David, and then we'll come to Monique from after David. So David Ross joins us. And is involved with the North Cumbrian Scriptwriters, and there's been a nice project going on in the background, and I think we're coming to a bit of a moment in that project. So David, tell us what's been going on and what the news is.
Okay, thank you very much, Tom. The North Cumbria Scriptwriters, we promote script writing in Cumbria, and we run competitions and also workshops. And our latest competition, which we ran in conjunction via the BBC Writers' Room, and I would recommend that because that gave us a bigger audience, and therefore we had a bigger response for people who applied to join the competition. Having said that, the Act Your Age competition plays up to 15 minutes, had to be something to do with Act Your Age, interpreted in whatever way the writer thought, but the writers had to have links to Cumbria. So whereas we might have got applications from throughout the network with the BBC's network, they had to show that they had links to Cumbria, might have been working there, they might have retired there. It was so definitely links to Cumbria. The 6 winning entries were chosen by Melina Barnett, who was an associate director at Theatre by the Lake. And the 6 winning plays are being performed at Theatre by the Lake on the 20th of April, 7:30. We've got a handful of tickets left. I asked the theatre to increase the capacity by adding another row in the studio. So we've got a handful of tickets, and it's also on the 27th of April at Penrith Playhouse. And there are plenty of tickets left for that. Now, on behalf of North Cumbria Scriptwriters, I'm producing it at both venues, and that's been an eye-opener for me because I've never produced anything before. I've written and I've acted, but never produced, so that's quite an interesting thing. The 6 plays covered a variety of genres: farce, humour, romance, and ecology. It was good, and it's been good because I'm involved in acting in a couple of the plays as well, and it's really nice to see how the writers have interpreted the Act Your Age idea. A short list was put together of 12, and then Melina on behalf of Theatre by the Lake, she decided on the 6 winning plays. And so they are the people performing the plays. There are Dirtwater Drama Group, who are based at Theatre by the Lake, meet every Thursday from 11 till 1:30, usually in the rehearsal room, sometimes in the studio. So they're putting on 5 of the plays, and the 6th play is being performed by people from Penrith Playhouse. So all those 6 are being on at they're about 12 to 15 minutes each play. So that's a full evening's entertainment at both the theatres. And as I say, it's a variety. It's gone from looking at people trying to rehearse a play, looking at a grandmother's very interesting hobby. Also a very interesting one on an old person's coming up against modern technology and artificial intelligence, and mainly comedy, but there is a very serious one on climate change as well. So if you want a variety of plays, come along and see them. We also, as I say, we do workshops as well, and I'm going to be discussing with Liv Stevenson at Theatre by the Lake, where Liz, with some of the actors who are in a current production, will workshop 3 or 4 of the plays of the North Cumbria Scriptwriters people, who they say, we've got a challenge with this part of a play. We would like Liz and a team of professional actors to workshop them, and that's great, that, because we get to see them going through that. So I'm discussing with Liz when to put together the next workshop. Hopefully it'll be in October this year, but it all depends on availability.
Okay, David, that's great. Thank you. Well, thanks for pulling all that together as well, and great that Theatre by the Lake are supporting this. There's a link that has gone into chat that Amy's put there about this for a bit more information. I meant to say I went to Theatre by the Lake last week to see. I don't know if you remember on the call a few weeks ago, we had Grace and Peter McQueen, Grace Kirby and Peter McQueen, talking about their one-person shows that they've written, and they're directing each other. So they did a night. Peter's is called The Butterfly Collector, and Grace's was called Nancy's Orange. So really good to see those taking shape, and I think there's ambitions for those to become rural touring pieces. I know 1 or 2 other people on this call were at that performance as well. So that was great to see. So it feels like writing and theatrical writing is alive and well in this part of the world. So speaking of that, let's cross to Monique, who is also involved, and Claire involved in Playback. So tell us what's going on there, Monique, and where we've got to.
Yes.
And just remind people what it is as well.
Yeah, I was going to start with that. Yeah, Playback is improvised theatre. So no lines to learn, which is great if you're a certain age like me. You just react to stories that are told by members of the audience. We have a conductor who sort of asks questions in the audience, and people come up with moments or stories from their lives, and the conductor then guides the actors to a certain form, a short form as we call them, and we reenact that story, but not literally. It's usually quite in a different way. We try to put a different slant on it, and I don't know whether the slides can be put up.
Yeah, we've got those for you. They should be coming any second now.
Yeah, okay, great. Marvelous. So if we go to the next slide, so we have invited Manchester Playback, which Claire is a member, to come and play again at the Theatre by the Lake. They are very busy, I suppose. And that's on the 12th of April. So next week, Friday at 7:30. Bookings are taken by via the theatre. We've sold quite a few tickets already, but there are still some to go. So if you want to find out what this playback malarkey actually is. And even if you're not really interested in doing it yourself, I think it is something that would interest most people. To be honest, I've never spoken to anybody who's seen a performance who didn't like it. So I know that's a bold claim, but that is my experience. People take away something from it. It is often it can be therapeutic. It's not therapy, but it's therapeutic. It can make you laugh. It can make you cry. There's so much recognition. If one member of the audience tells a story, a lot of people who will have a similar experience, and it's about that storytelling thing as well that is so important in many cultures. So to actually learn it, next slide please. We actually Manchester Playback is also offering a workshop at the Theatre by the Lake the day after, so the Saturday the 13th of April. So if you want to come and try it out yourself, no strings attached, you can just come and see whether you like it. We have now got quite a steady group of people. We've been doing these workshops for quite a few months now, and we've got a steady following. So so it's nice to we try to obviously reach more people, but we are definitely going to set up a proper playback group in Cumbria, which is really exciting. And we hope to be, to lead, to do ourselves performances at some point when everybody is confident enough to do that. So the workshop on the Saturday is £15. You can, if you go to the next slide, you can, if you want to book that, email cumbriaplayback@gmail.com. And for more information as well, just ask anything, you can email that email address, and I'll pop that in the chat in a minute. If you can't make next weekend, we've planned a few more dates yet for our next workshop, which is Friday the 24th of May in the evening, and Saturday the 29th of June during the afternoon, Saturday afternoon. So any questions, I suppose?
Great, thank you, Monique. Let's just fly around, see if there's any questions. There's a couple of things I wanted to pick up in chat as well, actually, just before we finish. Is Verity still with us? Is there any questions for Monique or Dave? Verity's still there. No, Verity, you were just mentioning something that you visited over Easter at Ray Castle and a photography exhibition. Tell us about that.
Oh, it was so good.
Where's Ray Castle? Remind me where that is.
It's in the middle. I think it's near Ambleside. Oh no, it's on the shores of Lake Windermere.
Yep. People are nodding near Ambleside. That'll do. Thank you. Carry on. Sorry, carry on. Why was this so good?
So it's a National Trust place that they self-describe as a work in progress. So it's not like other National Trust places where you sort of wander around and see it all. There's not much that's open yet, but it's right on the shore of Lake Windermere. So it's a great location to go on nice walks. That's what we did for lots of the day. But they currently have an exhibition on in collab with that's a collab with the Armet, where they've blown up loads of early photography of the lakes, specifically by Rupert Potter, who's Beatrix Potter's dad, and I think a family friend called Rupert Bell. Hang on, I have it open. I want to get his name right. Herbert Bell, sorry. Rupert Potter and Herbert Bell. And it was just really great. It was nice to, the photography is really high quality, so you can see, or the way that they've blown it up is really high quality, so you can see so much detail. And it's just nice to see places that are so familiar, but then people that look quite different, because of course their dress was very different. But equally the perspectives from Rupert Potter was often holidaying in the lakes and doing quite posh things, and Herbert wasn't, and so that he'd be going for walks and be showing people who lived locally and were working and things, and it was just a great contrast. I thought it was so well done, and I'd really recommend. It was so fun.
Okay, you've done a good sell, Verity. Thank you very much indeed. And Peter, could I Monique, do you want to say something?
Oh, I just wanted to share a personal win. I just heard literally just a few minutes ago that I won a prize for my writing. It's not that exciting, but hey, I won the last
We're all excited for
Guardian
you.
the Guardian travel tips writer. I popped a link in the chat. And it's just a 100-word tip about one of my favorite Dutch islands, Vlieland. So have a read of that. You need to scroll all the way down.
Right, we'll do that. All right. Thank you, Monique. Congratulations. That's fantastic news. Peter Hunter, could I just ask you just to tell us why we should all watch this iPlayer this iPlayer documentary about this Northeast photographer, Trish Merthyr?
Excuse me. I really enjoyed it. That's why I'm recommending it. Although she's not Northwest, she's Northeast.
We'll take it. It's okay. She's
I'd
from the north.
I'd never heard of her, and she was around in the 80s taking photographs of working class communities. And what really worked about it, and the deprivation in the areas, and what really worked was she was from the community herself, and so she could get really good close contact with basically with friends and family and record their living conditions. And she was quite a left-wing artist as well.
Okay.
So she had that slant on it too, and she went to mining strikes and coal strikes, and recorded stuff there as well. And
Okay.
just brilliant and fascinating photos.
Great stuff. Looks like Helen and Barbara have enjoyed it as well, which is good news. I shall look out for that one. It's the top tips. I mean, so just word of warning, if you put a top tip into chat, I may come to you and force you to talk about it in future calls. So just be warned. Hope that doesn't put anyone off. I think we're there. It's 10:28 by my clock. So thank you very much to everybody who's been here this morning. Fascinating insight. I know Sam's gone to bed in that beautiful part of the world, but Ian, thank you very much for bringing that to our attention this morning. Lots of interesting thoughts in chat there, and we shall monitor progress of whatever it becomes, or whether it just stays the same and we just enjoy it from time to time with interest. And thanks, Monique, and well done. Congratulations on your prize. And I hope the playback sessions go well. And David, thank you very much for telling us about the Northern Writers, Scriptwriters project and where that's got to as well. And by the way, congratulations to Theatre by the Lake for supporting lots of these things. It's fantastic. I kind of think it's the right thing to do as well. You're an MPO, you get public money. Absolutely, this is a good thing for Theatre by the Lake to be doing, but it all takes effort, production, and then there's bums on seats and money to be brought in as well somehow. So it's a balancing act in all of these things, but great that our network is kind of supporting each other to make stuff happen in this county. So thank you very much. If it's been your first time being on the call, I hope you've enjoyed the call. We'll do it all again next Friday. I won't be here next Friday. Chris Bridgman will be in the chair next Friday, but we are going to listen to what Eden Arts are doing with their Artists in Residence program. They've got basically a room where people can occupy for 2 or 3 weeks and use that as a base to make stuff. Kate Geargle is also going to come on from Westmoreland Furnace Council, where they've got some money to dish out on various different projects as well, which I know CACN has been involved in helping negotiate. Kate's been involved in those conversations, so worth tuning in for that, particularly if you're in the Westmoreland Furnace area. And also we're going to hear about the next iteration of the factory exhibition at the old pencil factory in Keswick, which is taking place this summer. I think it's the 3rd time they've done that, and we are going to hear from someone whose name I've forgotten to talk about that as well. Anyway, I won't be here. It's going to be a great call, I'm sure. Nice to see you all. It's going to be a bit wet and windy, so just take care this weekend, and catch you all again. I'll see you in a fortnight, but I hope you all get together in a week's time.